What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Bob Arum. Bob Arum said this boldly. He says, take it to the bank, there will be no Anthony Joshua fight after June 20th. Of course, Bob Arum is eager, as of everyone else, to see a true undisputed heavyweight champion. But he struggles to understand how and just how Anthony Joshua will have anything to do with that conversation after his next fight. He says, take it to the bank, there won't be an Anthony Joshua after June 20th. Insisted during a recent segment of the Helwani show on ESPN. The stance behind that claim stems from the unified heavyweight champion scheduled to fight mandatory challenger Kubrat Pulev, and he has one loss, 14 KOs. The bout takes place on June 20th, as we know, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, England, following extensive talks after Bulgaria's Pulev, as his side, co-promoted by Top Rank, nearly forced a purse bid. And he says in that time, the long-remaining heavyweight title changed hands along with a lineal champion being crowned. The claimant to both of these items is Joshua's countryman Tyson Fury, who became, of course, the WBC heavyweight champion. Of course, we know what happened in that fight with Deontay Wilder. But Bob Arum is insisting that Anthony Joshua will not be around after June 20th. And, you know, it takes confidence. Of course, he's going to go out for his fighter because he claims his fighter can beat Anthony Joshua. And what's apparent is, and this is what happens when a fighter loses. When a fighter loses, even if he won the next fight, which Anthony Joshua has done, what tends to happen is everyone looks at Anthony Joshua still with a big question mark. Because they're thinking, you know what, I can do exactly what Andy Ruiz did. You know, he just showed people the blueprint. You catch him mid-range, you catch him in the inside with the left hook to the temple, he will fold because he doesn't have the resistance or the durability to withstand that shot. And that's what we bank on. Like I told you guys about Deontay Wilder, it's easy to say, hey, I'll knock Wilder out now than ever before. Why? Because you've seen it happen. Bob Arum's been talking smack about Anthony Joshua for the longest, and it was really peculiar on his behalf because before he had the rematch with Ruiz, he was stating, oh, that was not Anthony Joshua. I don't know who the hell that was. Right? Now, when Joshua beat him and he defied all odds, the first thing he said was Joshua's not an elite fighter because, he beat Andy Ruiz. Ruiz to him is not an elite fighter. Why? Because, he used to be up under Bob Arum used to be his promoter. That's why, And I just think that this is a bold statement coming from Bob Arum about Kubrat Pulev. He has one loss. So did Andy Ruiz. And I still think each and every time Anthony Joshua has to prove people wrong. And at no point of time he should get complacent. Because, see, the funny thing about these mandatories, I mean, these true mandatories. I don't mean that bullshit rematch with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. That was not a true mandatory, people. This is a true mandatory. The IBF mandated fight for Kubrat Pulev is Anthony Joshua, which is the IBF champion. Now, he thinks that Pulev will knock out Joshua. Can he? I mean, this is heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen. But the more I think about this now, it's almost to me like, and Bob Arum's a businessman, and he knows business more than anyone else. It seems like to me, I just get this igging suspicion that Bob Arum has been talking smack about Anthony Joshua for the longest because he's trying to keep Tyson Fury far away from him, especially now. And it makes sense to keep him away from Joshua now, because think about it. Look what's happening. Tyson Fury's beat Wilder. We already know that. Tyson Fury has two more fights on the American contract with ESPN, right? Co-promoted by Frank Warren. What else has happened? Just as of yesterday, he had another new prospect, 19-0 with 15 KOs in Australia, that he wanted to add to that challenge to Tyson Fury and bring Tyson Fury to Australia. I just covered it yesterday. So now he says, "Oh, there won't be a Joshua June 20th." It won't be a Joshua June 20th because Kubrat Pulev will win, or you really don't want Anthony Joshua to face Tyson Fury. See, to look deeper in these type of things, he starts downplaying a lot of things. When you don't want to fight a fighter, you talk about how bad that fighter is. Oh, he got beat by Ruiz. Ruiz ain't shit. So that means Joshua ain't shit. That means that Tyson Fury shouldn't even deal with him. But what businessman would want that? Someone that's already filthy, stinking rich, like Bob Arum. He wants to know, I had the top fighters around and I don't want them disturbed by an outside promotional company like DAZN, and dealing with Joshua and Hearn. He doesn't want that, and he could care less about Joshua, really. He said he wants to, but the more he downplays it, and what promoter downplays another fighter if they want those guys to meet? If he wants his fighter to fight Anthony Joshua, what the hell does he look like downplaying him, talking smack about him? Demoralizing him as a fighter, right? Saying how bad he is. You don't do that if you're a promoter. Of course you talk about how good your fighter is. You lift him up. You pick him up. You promote him, but you don't demote a fighter that is a possible opponent. They're already rivals, people. They sparred. They're from the same country. They're both champions. But then the only thing I'm looking at from Bob Arum is that won't matter anyway. And before the Kubrat Pulev, and you would think it's just because of the Kubrat Pulev fight he's saying this. No, because he was saying the same shit before that has been finalized. Because he could have dropped that belt, remember that? And he was still talking shit about him. So anyway, that's food for thought about Bob Arum. It's just the last thing I would want to do as a promoter is talk about what won't be after June 20th. Knowing I already have the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. If Anthony Joshua wins, it should be a win-win from Bob Arum, right? Because what if Joshua goes in there and smokes Pulev? He smokes Pulev, right? Okay, then Tyson Fury does the same thing with Deontay Wilder. Boom, then you have a super fight. But the way and the seeds that Bob Arum's planning does not match up with what he really wants to go down. And that's my take on it. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.